fall day out here, everybody. Temperatures are cooling down, leaves are falling. Love this time of year. Just before we get into the video, for those of you who are new here, this is the channel where I get your lawn from brown and disgusting to green and beautiful in just under a year. And for those of you who have been subscribed since the spring, you are seeing that change. But a lot of you have just come in during the fall renovation time. There's still many steps that you can take in the next coming days to bring your lawn to the next level and set you up in a good spot next spring. So without further ado, let's start talking about those tips. Fall lawn tip. How's it going, Welcome back to the Rake North. As you can see behind me, I've been hard at work doing leaves since about mid last week is when the leaves really started to kick up. Over here we got about 25 bags. This is not even maybe an eighth of the amount of bags we'll bag all year this year. But in this video we're going to be talking about two major things. One, we're going to be talking about how I bag leaves, how to bag leaves for a large property. We're going to be talking about fall lawn tips, and we're going to be talking about this big thing, which is a major myth that drives me crazy every year, and I'm here to debunk what you should do about leaves in the lawn. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first fall lawn tip is you need to know your specific location's first crop damaging frost. So for us, we normally see it around September 21st. So we've already had quite a few major frosts here in my location. The golf course that I work at, we've had many frost delays. They're pretty much a daily occurrence now. We're pretty much receiving frost every day. Temperatures, pretty much anytime temperatures drop below 5 degrees, you're gonna be pretty close or pretty susceptible to frost. Now, you normally get away with the first two because your soil temps are high enough that the frost won't be able to stick to the ground. But once soil temps drop low enough, that dew, because all frost is, folks, is just the dew freezing on the ground. So once you get low enough, that dew that sits on the lawn is gonna freeze. And then once that freezes, you're going to be getting consistent frost. Probably every time the temperature dips below 5 degrees, you'll get consistent frost. As long as it's not cloudy, there's a couple other conditions that kind of hold in that temperature, but most of the time you'll be seeing frost. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, wait, what's the big deal about frost and lawns? Well, number one, your first major frost, your first crop damaging frost, as they normally call it, will be probably the last time you mow your lawn. Unfortunately, folks, we're getting to that time of the season where lawn mowing season's wrapping up to an end. For me, I had a mow in last Wednesday, and I don't know, maybe one or two more mows. I probably only got 2 weeks left of growth on the lawn here. We're gonna be pushing it with fall fertilizer this weekend. Hopefully we might see a little bit more after that, but other than that, once temperatures are dropping below 10 degrees, you're getting back into that fall situation where you're just not going to get a lot of growth, not going to see a lot of growth on the top growth of your lawn. However, this does not mean that you won't see growth in the roots. So as we talked about earlier when we showed you guys the big chart of cool season lawns for the entire year, fall is the best time for root growth. So even though you're not seeing top growth, does not mean that pushing your lawn with fertilizer will not help strengthen those roots for the next years to come. So the first one, you need to know when your first frost date is so you can kind of plan your fall fertilizer schedule. So what you need to do is you need to put down a heavy nitrogen, heavy all around app, normally heavy on nitrogen though, right 2 weeks before your first crop damaging frost. So for me, that's Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be putting down, this is coming up to Thanksgiving weekend. Hopefully I'll get this video out before I actually put the fertilizer down, and I'll add a separate video about that last fertilizer app of the year. Then once you put that fertilizer down, you're gonna help grow and strengthen your roots for the next coming spring to have a green, healthy lawn popping up as soon as the temperatures heat up next spring. Common misconception, fall fertilizer is not for growth in the fall. It's for growth the next spring. Bad nutrients is gonna sit in the soil all winter. Then as soon as soil temps heat up, pop, the lawn eats all that nitrogen and shoots right up. And if you're following my heavy spring fertilizer program, that also will help you gauge up your lawn next spring. So with frost, what happens is because the dew freezes in that plant, the cells in that plant freeze. And the reason that you have frost delays on golf courses is because walking on the lawn when it has frost will leave frost damage. So a lot of times it doesn't kill the lawn, but it basically breaks those cells, which basically kills the leaf surface, browns out the lawn. So if we allowed all the golf carts to go driving out on the fairways and everything, we would get giant brown tracks all over the course, and it would look awful. It wouldn't necessarily kill it, but it would look awful until next spring. So that's why another tip is stay off your lawn when it's frosty. If you really have to, you can walk on it. Don't drive cars on it. I don't suggest driving cars on your lawn anyways, but don't drive cars on a frosty lawn. Try not to walk on a frosty lawn. Don't drive cars, don't drive your lawnmower on it, don't drive anything on a frosty lawn. You can let your dogs go out and maybe walk on it, that's it. But the frost normally clears up in about 1 to 2 hours, depending on how cold you got the previous night. So as long as you just kind of wait for those frosty tips to come off, everything thaws out, you're all good. You're just walking on a wet, dewy lawn, and that'll be it. So for those of you who completed a fall renovation or are seeing areas maybe like this that did not come in as full as you want to, I'm sorry to say, but if you are here in Southern Ontario, or definitely anywhere in Northern Ontario, anywhere in Canada, probably about Toronto height, if you kind of look at where you are, Toronto height, I mean the Midwest does tend to get a little bit different weather than ours, but if temperatures like us, our daytime highs are only getting up to 13, 15 degrees, your seeding window is done, folks. It's way too late. You're not going to get that 6 weeks to establish your seed. So just forget about seed. Take that out of your mind. You're not going to get any seed done anymore. Seed is done. If you really want to put sod down, you can. Just make sure that you're not watering it late in the day before the frost comes overnight. Definitely don't be watering it in the night, because all that's going to do is just going to cause more and more freezing on that lawn. The good thing about fall coming here in Southern Ontario though means is the rains are back. So we're getting rains about every 2 to 3 days, and as you can see, the lawns all around, the more you walk around, you can just see the lawns greening up. I haven't had to water my lawn in 3 weeks, and for about 2 months this year, 3 months, it was a regular occurrence, me watering my lawn almost every day to keep it alive. So that is a great news. So the next fall lawn tip is your lawnmower. So a lot of times it's time to get out and probably sharpen your mower blades. You've probably been running almost all season without those sharp mower blades, especially if you've overseeded. You don't want to be cutting those new blades or that new sod with dull mower blades tearing the grass. You want to get nice sharp mower blades so you can cut the lawn with nice sharp mower blades. So the last couple cuts, get everything all done up like that. Speaking about cutting, you're going to want to be dropping down your cutting height. So what I suggested is cut it 4 inches all summer long. You want to end the season at 3 inches, guys, or 2.75, whatever you would like to do. So what I've been doing is slowly in the last couple weeks, as temperatures have been dropping down, we've been getting more rain, I've been slowly easing down my mower height. I had to do it a little bit quicker than I was hoping because our frost came really early this year, but I'm at 3.5 now. Next cut will be at 3.25. The final cut will be at 3 inches for this year. I tend to only bring mine down to 3 inches because I've trained mine to grow high so much. I really start to see scalping at 3 inches. So that's why I only tend to drop mine down to 3 inches, depending on where you are. If you only got up to 3.75 this summer or 3.5, go right ahead, drop it down to 2.75 or 2.5. The reason that you're going to do this is when the snow comes, it's going to lay down all those blades, lay down all that leaf surface, and the more leaf surface you have, the more matted your lawn's going to get, and the more dethatching you're going to have to do in the spring. So this is going to kind of help reduce the amount of work you're going to have to do in the spring, because if you get all this down and you don't have to do this work in the spring, then that will reduce the amount of work you have to do in the spring, reduce the amount of damage to your lawn, and just all in all help have a healthier, greener lawn next spring. For those of you who are noticing a trend, a lot of fall lawn tips have to do with getting you set up for next spring. And this is a time of year where people, they put in all the work all summer, they go, it's done, and they coast. They like to coast through this time. They like to mow maybe twice after August, and that's it. They don't rake leaves, they don't do fertilizer, all this stuff. But this is important. If you coast through this time, you're gonna be struggling next spring to get it back going, and your lawn is not gonna be as resilient to heat stress next summer. So this is not the time to coast, folks. This is the time to go heavy, throw her down, put in the work. Now let's address the elephant in the room about fall lawn care, and that is leaves. This is one that drives me insane. I have heard so many incorrect theories about leaves, and I'm here to debunk what you actually should do about leaves. So without further ado, let's get into the lawn and let me show you why you should rake your leaves and why this is so important. Okay, so we're here in the lawn. This is a pretty thickly covered area of leaves. This is not very thick in my standards, but this is the most thickest cover area I have now because I stay on top of my leaves. And that's tip number 1 for raking leaves. You need to stay on top of them. The more you stay on top of the leaves, the less you'll be stuck outside when it's snowing and -10 raking leaves in the middle of November because you didn't stay on top of your leaves, and it takes forever and it's back-breaking work at that point. If you get on top of it, you're not picking up as much. You go outside every other day, bag a couple bags, and that's it, you're good. Over the years of being a lawn care nut, I have seen everybody do everything in the book to get rid of leaves. I've seen people rake leaves with a rake. I've seen people blow leaves with a blower. Some people just blow leaves onto the street, blow leaves into a forest. Some people actually rake them up, bag them like I do, put them at the bottom of the street. Some people put them in plastic bags. Some people dump them in giant compost piles. Some people just run over them with a lawnmower and just chop them all up into the lawn. And some people don't do anything and just leave them on the lawn. Let me tell you why you should actually rake your leaves, because there has been so many incorrect myths and articles about why you shouldn't rake leaves, but those are all incorrect. The best thing to do is to rake your leaves, and let me tell you why. Number one, as you can see here, these leaves are all sitting on the lawn, sitting on top of the grass blade. So as you can see, if I clear the leaves off, now you guys are seeing more leaf surface of the lawn than there was when there was leaves all over it. So this is number one. Fall is already a very low time for sunlight. We don't get a lot of sunlight in the fall. So why you would want to blotch that out by leaving leaves on your lawn during the fall is beyond me. The best thing about your lawn is getting those leaf surface to get the sunlight, get photosynthesis. You're just adding shade to your lawn. So you want to get those leaves off the lawn, allow the lawn to get as much sunlight and nutrients from the sun as it can. The other thing I hear a lot is people say, why just mulch them up with the lawnmower? You know, the nutrients are good for the grass. It helps feed the lawn. It's just like natural fertilizer. Well, yes, you are right. If you mulch up the leaves with the lawnmower, they will decompose in the lawn. But what I see a lot with that is, one, if you live in a place like me where you're surrounded by giant trees, the leaves are just too much. It's too much coverage for the lawn. Two, you're helping build a thatch layer. Leaves do decompose, but they don't decompose without being turned over a lot, and they need to be mixed with other things than just a pile of leaves. A pile of leaves takes forever to decompose, but you need to mix them with other things like soil and other sort of yard clippings in a giant compost pile to get the leaves to decompose. So what you're gonna do is, please don't mulch up your leaves into the lawn. One, when you're mulching them up, a lot of times I see people doing it with way too many leaves on the lawn, when they ended up just making more of a mess by having these giant piles of little mulched up leaf clippings all over the place. Two, they're doing damage to the lawnmower because the lawnmower is not made to intake that much material at one time. And three, overall, it just doesn't, it's messy, it doesn't look good overall, and there's disease spores in these leaves. These leaves have diseases in them that carry from tree to tree. Some of them have disease, some of them don't, but a lot of times leaves have disease in them. So if you're mulching those leaves into your lawn, you have a chance of transferring disease spores from the leaves into the lawn, and that is just not good. So if you are gonna mulch it with a mower, please use a bagger to pick up all those clippings. Don't just leave all those clippings bashed into your yard. All it's gonna do is it's gonna introduce disease to your lawn, it's gonna smother it out, and it's just not, in all, gonna make a mess. So the best thing to do is to pick up your leaves. Either rake them with a spring rake or a large plastic rake into a pile, pick them up, let your local town take them away in a compost, take them away and do industrial composting that they can do, which is a lot better than the composting that you can do in your own backyard. And then a lot of municipalities like ours, you can go and pick up that industrial composting after for free and bring it back to your yard. So it's just a kind of community thing. Not only are you helping yourself by raking your leaves, making your lawn look nice, you're helping your neighbors so your leaves aren't blowing into your neighbors, and you're helping everybody else in your community by contributing to this industrial compost pile where you can go and pick up compost, bring it back to your yard. Now, if you have a large yard like me, you're probably saying, wait, there is no way in hell I can rake all those leaves. One, I'm saying, yes, you can. I have done it. I have done it for years before I bought this amazing tool. You can do it. It is possible as long as you put your mind to it. And as I said before, the best thing about leaves, you stay on top of it, you get it done faster. Without further ado, I'm gonna go to a clip from a couple weekends ago. The first time I got out the sweeper this year. I'm gonna show you what the sweeper is, how it works, and then we're gonna pop back here and I'm going to give you a couple more lawn tips coming into winter, and then I'm going to end off the video. So without further ado, let's pop back to me a couple weeks ago, the first time I got the sweeper out. How's it going, eh? Welcome back to the Great Green Mark. This is going to be more of a day in the life video. The last one I did actually was extremely popular. So we're going to be doing leaves. I'm going to be showing you the lawn sweeper, the AgriFab lawn sweeper that we have, how it works, how to rake leaves if you live on a large property. Then after I finish the leaves, I'm going to move on to a quick mow. And then after I finish the mow, gonna head inside, do something for my second channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First, let's talk about how I rake leaves on a large property. So I briefly talked about this the other day, and when I kind of reorganized the garage to get it out for the fall. I normally have to reorganize the garage in the fall because it takes up a lot of space. We normally have it put to the side, hanging up. But this is our AgriFab 52-inch lawn sweeper. So our mower deck is a 42-inch. This is a 52-inch. This thing is huge. Now, it's not necessarily huge. Lawnmowers are 52-inch. The commercial lawnmower I used when I mowed residential lawns was 52-inch. But for this one, this is a 52-inch. We tow it behind the tractor, and this thing is a godsend. I cannot emphasize how much this thing has saved our lives, and it's not that expensive either, folks. It's only about 200 bucks. Sometimes you can get them for 100 on sale. This thing is awesome. Let me show you how it works. Just for storage sake, every time we're done using it, we flip the hitch in. So this is where it hitches onto the back of your lawnmower. Now, I would recommend getting some spacers to put them in here. We haven't done it, and as you can see, it does take the paint off the back of your hitch on your mower right here. That's what this is. It's from this banging up and down. But I do also recommend when you have this kind of able to bang up and down, it allows you to have a little bit more wiggle room on bumps and things. Kind of keeps from putting the stress on the back of your tractor. So looking at that hitch, this hitch is not just any hitch, folks. We have an adjustable tongue right here, so you can move this up and down on the back to set your tongue. So if you have a tractor with a very high hitch, you can set your tongue high. If you have a tractor with very low hitch, you can set your tongue low. I find I like to set my tongue high because there's this blade right here, and if you set your tongue low, I find this blade digs into the ground and tends to rip up the grass. So that's why I prefer to set my tongue high, to keep this blade from ripping up the grass. Secondly, this whole hitch with these two mechanisms can move back and forth on this bar. So it can move to the left or to the right. So this is very good because one year we were raking up huge piles of leaves, and what happened was it was going underneath the mower deck like this the first year we owned that, and it got all wedged underneath the mower deck. And what we had to do was we had to kind of jack it up and reach with our hands and pull it out to get it loose, and then kind of drive it around. The mower literally got stuck in the yard because all the leaves were. What you can do is, if you're doing large piles of leaves, you offset this completely to the right. That basically allows your tractors here and the sweepers over here, so you can drive beside the piles without picking up stuff and getting it all stuck underneath your mower deck and everything like that. So that's a really great feature for large piles of leaves. You can offset it with your tractor. Same if you're doing side discharge and you want to pick up the clippings. If you're doing side discharge out this side, I have a mulching deck, but if you're doing side discharge, you can offset it to the right, pick up your side discharge as you're doing it. This feature is really nice, and it's a dump feature. So you can dump this thing without even getting off the tractor. So you can just reach around, and you'll see in the video, you reach around, you lift this handle off this little holder thing, and then you pull the big handle back, and it dumps the 52 cubic feet hopper. So that is a really great feature. It allows you to dump without even getting off the tractor. Most of the times what we have is we have someone on those big days I was talking about, we do 40-50 bags. We have someone just riding the mower, which is normally me, going up and down picking up all the leaves, and then we have other people specifically at the bag, and I can just pull up, back up to the giant pile, dump. They can just keep bagging, and it's just a continuous process. Now you're probably wondering, how does this work? Well, think about the name. It is a lawn sweeper, leaf sweeper. So I'm gonna open up this door so we can get some more light in, and then I'll show you exactly how the mechanicals work in there. Okay, so as you can see back in here, we have the sweeper part. So what these are is these are giant bristles, and it has a gauge over here where you set how high you want it. It has a whole bunch of different notches, and you lower these bristles, and as they spin, they just slightly touch the ground, and they scoop the leaves right up, throw them in the back of the hopper, and then all you gotta do is just pull up, dump your hopper, put the leaves in the bag. Guys, it's insanely easy. I'm gonna go get my mount and I'm gonna mount it on so you can see how this thing works. And without further ado, let's get into picking up some leaves. Okay, so as you can see, that sweeper is the best thing I've ever bought. It does take a little bit of adjusting, but that thing is amazing. I do my lawn about every other day in the heavy of the fall, which we're getting into right now. We're pretty darn close. And I can just do a couple bags, 15, 20 bags each day, and it gets it done. It's little increments that you're taking a little bite sizes. It helps you. You can just kind of take 1 hour to go away from the desk, go away from inside, get outside, get some fresh air, and then head back in. And you're not getting stuck outside for 5, 6, 7 hours at a time, trying to get all the leaves done while it's snowing and freezing cold because you've fallen behind on the season and the snow's coming tomorrow and you need to get the leaves off your lawn. So without further ado, that's pretty much it for fall lawn tips, other than just enjoy the mow. You're getting close to the end of the season. The days are getting shorter. The weather's getting colder. Enjoy the mow. Enjoy the fall colors. Make sure that you're getting out into that lawn and enjoying those last little bits of cool, fresh air and yard work that you're going to get for a while. And from the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. I hope this video helped you. If you have any more questions about raking leaves, fall lawn care, be sure to ask them in the comments below and I will answer them in the next video. The next video will be me applying my last fertilizer application of the year. And then we're not that close. We've probably got about 2 weeks of mowing left. We got maybe 3 weeks before we're gonna start getting major frost. The ground's gonna start freezing. And then maybe 5 weeks before the first snow, guys. So we're getting there. So from the Great Green North, oh, and then it's also 9 weeks till Christmas or something like that. 2020 is almost over, people. Never been happier. So from the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this channel with your family and your friends. If they are looking into getting lawn care, if they're trying to improve their lawn, make sure to share it with them. The channel is growing. I'm trying to get it to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. So from the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. Help us grow this community and make sure that we're getting those specific Canadian lawn tips out there. From the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. Keep it green.